All right, yeah. Welcome to our interview for the Not Too Late holiday special. We have a very special guest with us today. I didn't write this, one of my writers did. They referred to you as the ghost of Not Too Late Past. So welcome, Tucker Scanlon.
Thank you. Thank you for the welcome.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, uh,
Ghost.
yeah, I don't really think that was fair. You're not dead.
I
That's
have
just rude
I
to all ghosts.
One thing that I did talk to Lauren, the studio manager, about is I wanted to buy a plaque that just claimed that I died in some odd year and then send it to her. And I was like, if I did this, would you put it up? And she still hasn't given me a no.
Hmm.
Every time she's like, send it to me and I'll see how nice it looks. And I'm like,
I
well,
feel,
I
I
don't want
feel
to
like
buy
she would
like,
do it.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want to buy like a $70 plaque just for you not to put it up. But I think it'd be worth it to drop like $150 just to, if I ever do go back. Or like, because it's funny right now, but then in 5 years, that just becomes sad for all the kids who have no idea who I am. They're just
Yeah, it
like,
was just
oh,
like, oh wow, this kid was really important to the school. I'm
they're like, did he
sorry.
die in here? Why is this plaque in the studio?
Yeah. So obviously you started this show. That is amazing. Anyone who works on the show, I wouldn't be here without you. So I just obviously want to say thank you for that. I've got some questions here. First question that I've got: you think you're better than me? You think you can
Hmm.
come back in here and be a guest and overshine my first season as host? You think you're better than me?
I I don't think I could outshine you with the new color palette. It's very different energies. The color palette now, the blue and the
It's
white matches you. I
yeah,
feel like the very well. First off, we had two color palettes while I was there, which
yeah.
why we swapped, I don't know. I signed off on it, I think, but
It's good to mix things up, I guess.
it was good. I guess it was when we switched from the floating void set to the
Hmm.
extravagant set.
Yeah.
But I identify with the green and purple, so I think I'd be out of my element. So no, I don't think so.
I appreciate that.
No
Um,
problem.
are y- are you upset that I put my name on the show? I was worried people were gonna be upset that I put my name on the show.
No, I think in fact it's good to distinguish. My knee-jerk reaction, interestingly enough, was why did he do that? And then I was like, well, wait a minute. We have Late Night with Seth Meyers. We have Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Hmm.
We have every single late night show has the name of the host. And then for the first like 10 seconds, it was, why did you do that? And then every second after that, it has been, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I put my
The
name on
reason
it?
I did it was to differentiate, because like I didn't want
Hmm.
it to just be not too late and then all of a sudden there's a new host. So, like I tried to separate it.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. I
are
think
right. Like,
it's good to differentiate. It's like how they have different generational names in
hmm,
China.
yeah,
Like the different like people gotta know where they're coming from and where they started.
yeah. You are right though, because right now you are the only person who has hosted a show titled Not Too Late who doesn't have their name on the show. I have my name. Elmo has his name on his show.
Don't get me
Uh,
started on Elmo. Dude, we got stolen. Did you see that Jackbox Games stole one of our season one games?
they did. What was it?
Remember the TED Talk game with the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
That's a Jackbox game now, where people get
Wow.
to make the title and then just a bunch of random pictures come up and you have to give a PowerPoint on it.
IU
Somebody
has a good
from
legal team. We should get on this.
Yeah, I was well because they have to defend us because legally anything you create at IU is owned by them, which is an insane clause that we signed.
Yeah, which is why I have a lot of ideas that I don't
Hmm.
pitch to IU because I want the rights to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they
I guess
stole
I
from
probably
us.
shouldn't say that as a host for an IU thing, but I'm still giving them ideas.
Yeah, they stole. So Jackbox stole from us. Elmo stole from us. Jimmy Kimmel stole from us at one point.
Hmm.
Or no, it was Fallon. It was
I
Fallon
think it
that
was
stole from us.
Fallon. Yeah.
Everybody steals. It's
Everyone
okay.
steals. Yeah. Um. So you hosted the show for 5 seasons. Unfortunately, the fifth season obviously was interrupted with the pandemic. But I just wanted, like, do you have a favorite memory? Because, like, you did so much. Fake audience, real audience. Obviously, like, one of the biggest things we did on the show was interview Jesse Eisenberg.
Hmm.
That was a big thing. But maybe, like, besides Jesse Eisenberg, did you have, like, something that you loved most or a favorite memory that you always think back on?
One thing that I think back on, and interestingly enough, Jesse Eisenberg, it was such a cool moment, and I think like career wise, it's up there, but just like memories wise, I think one of my favorite moments was it was Thursday afternoon, and we were gonna shoot an episode with the Bloomington Breakfast Club,
Hmm.
and then we got a phone call that the former host Rob Sherrill, or not the former host, but the guy who hosted Hella Late, which was a
Yeah.
completely different show, like 2 years before Not Too Late, was going to be in town that weekend and wanted to be on the show. And so we had an entire episode, like our monologue had something to do with the Bloomington Breakfast Club. So we just had to scrap a
Yeah.
whole episode. And so all the writers got together Thursday night and we stayed locked in that writer's room for like nearly 3 hours working and just pumping out a whole episode. And it turned out really well.
Yeah, some of the best times definitely are like just the last minute things where everyone is panicking and working together because it's just that like the bonding experience of like really working as a team on something.
Yeah, I think just the the coolest thing about Not Too Late is the fact that I mean it's not the coolest thing. It's actually kind of sucks. Is the fact that nobody's getting paid for it. Because it what it really does is it weeds out the people who care and don't care.
Yeah.
Because everybody who's there is doing it because it's something that they enjoy or something that they love, or at least they love the people. And so like because I probably put in 15, 20 hours a week on Not Too Late, and that's like on some of the lighter weeks
Yeah.
because as you know now as the head writer you do a lot, and then the actual taping of the show, worrying about the taping of the show, everything that you have to do, all the meetings. Um, it's something that you spend a lot of time into, and your only reward is just what you put out onto YouTube on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And the fact that still so many people stick around for that, I think, is just a magical feeling.
Yeah. Like obviously like a big part of our audience is just like family members of crew and stuff. But even then it's like it's good to hear like from those families. They're just like
Hmm.
we loved what you did. Like a crew member will come in and one example is someone's little brother loves our show, and I called him out like during one of our episodes, and I was like, "Thanks, Caleb." You know, I just did it again.
Yeah,
Um, because it's really nice like to have that support that just stays with us. Like
absolutely. I agree.
it's emotional. Um, so of season 6, you know, my first season hosting, was there
Hmm.
a part that like you have a favorite part of?
Hmm.
What stuck out?
Before I answer that, one of my favorite jokes of the season was in the Halloween debate
Hmm.
was the fracking joke. I loved that joke.
Yeah.
I think Nick is great.
Nick is
Um,
great. Yeah, he wrote most of that character, and did a really great job on the
mhm.
Vlad.
I think my favorite moment was when you asked the Disney Club how often they go to Disney World, and then immediately turned around and asked how often they donate to charity.
That was one of my favorite moments on the show. I'm gonna say this now. This is the holiday special. Okay, so
Hmm.
this episode's gonna be a bit different. I'm in this episode, especially during this interview because you're a special guest. I'm more just actually myself.
Yes, not a
Typically in our
character.
typically in the tapings, I am playing a character of Sebastian, where I'm trying to like it's more of an awkward, semi rude
Hmm.
host. Like
Yeah.
my character thinks that he's better than everyone else, you know, like he's the ultimate host. Um and so like I've been trying to like sprinkle in questions that are just like not what you should ask a guest, I guess.
Hmm.
Um and I think that's definitely one of my favorites.
Hmm. I agree. I also just enjoyed the entire hacky sack interview.
That one, yeah.
Especially Sam Marvin. I love that kid.
Yeah, he's a good
Um,
guy.
but yeah, that was just how you could tell. Obviously, they were just kind of like a shoe-in guest, and the real guest was in the second half.
No, they were even yeah, they even said like before like the interview and stuff. They're like, "So what guest is better than us? Why are we first?" Yeah. Um I was just curious like what are we? Like are you and I labeling our relationship? Are we casual? Should I tell my parents about you?
Hmm. I think it's like kind of like the presidents were like right now because you're holding the office. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But then like now we see like pictures of just Obama, Clinton, George W. Bush all vibing at like a baseball game.
Yeah.
So the second we get a new host in there,
We can
we,
vibe at some baseball games.
we can go to a safari.
A
We can
safari,
do
wow.
whatever. But that's just kind of the vibe of late night show hosts, I guess. It's just like when they're in the chair, no talking. But the second
Yeah.
they're out, it's like, oh, what's up? We're best friends. We both did this job.
All right. Well, I'll wait to tell my parents about you then.
Sounds good.
Um So yeah, this is the holiday special. It's gonna be longer, as the viewers can already tell based on the timestamp. But do you have like a holiday tradition or movie or food or something that like you always do that really gets you in the holiday mood? Like for me, my parents and I would like go around and just really spread our cheer by like throwing snowballs at small children on the street. Usually we fill them with rocks. Like that's
hmm
what gets us in the mood. So I was just curious if you had anything.
This is something that I love Indiana. That's a lie. I love Bloomington,
Bloomington, yeah.
but I have a qualm with that city, and it's that it practically has an embargo on the most festive beverage ever created.
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
And now I'm living in Atlanta, Georgia, home of World of
Hmm.
Coke and a lot of Coke factories,
Wow.
where they have billboards everywhere for that same beverage, where they're so popular here that it literally flies off the shelves so much that I can hardly get my hands on it. I'm talking about
That's
Sprite Cranberry.
yeah. What's the song from the commercial?
It's the thirstiest time of the year. Feet LeBron James. He has just one query. You want a Sprite Cranberry?
Oh.
The answer is clear. It's that's my main holiday thing. I'm
Hmm.
not aside from that, I eat peppermint stuff a lot more. I
Yeah.
listen to Christmas music year round, and that's not like I actively seek out Christmas music. I just keep my phone on shuffle.
Yeah,
And
I feel you and I have very similar ways of how we listen to music in the sense that we
hmm
just have an ever growing library that we just hit shuffle on.
yeah,
Like I know a lot of people will be like, I'm listening to this album right now or this album. I'm like, I've never done that. I've never just like listened to an album unless it's
hmm
like a musician that I like love.
I think
But
the closest thing I do to that is I will find a song that I'm like, I want to listen to the song 30 times today.
yeah, that's
Like
same.
my number one song of the year was No Such Thing by John Mayer. And
I don't really know him too well, but
that's just because like a week before school ended, when they announced that we were having like the 2 week
hmm
like closure, I was like, man, they're gonna close it down permanently. I'm gonna listen to this song for the next week, and I did, and then it's now my number one song of the year because I listened to it like I think it's at 38 times.
it's quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I've listened to it since that week, and I don't think I listened to it before that week.
Hmm. So if you had an advent calendar that was all about Tucker,
hmm
what would be the gifts inside?
Probably just really, really bad one-liners.
That one
Like,
line.
yeah, like I heard this one. Did you hear about the 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 Spanish speaking guy who murdered a bunch of people on a train.
I have not.
He had locomotives.
That is that's real bad.
Yeah, you just open the advent calendar and there'd be that in there.
So something that like I would say that I do pretty often now because of you is the I didn't even know they were sick joke. Would that be one of the one-liners?
I Bro, I feel so bad that everybody thinks that I created that joke.
No, I don't think
Somebody,
you created it. I just you
yeah,
did it, and I started doing it, and like our other friends who have
it,
previously worked on the show have started doing it more. So
yeah, but that's the best joke ever written. Like, no joke will ever be funnier than that.
it came up in a comedy I was watching the other day actually. If you haven't checked it out, or if any of the audience hasn't checked it out, I highly recommend it because it's super weird. A show called Children's Hospital.
Mm,
It was on Adult Swim. It's a Rob Corddry show, and basically, someone kept mentioning how sick they were. Um, they passed away, and then they were like, "Wow, I didn't even know they were sick," and it was just like very obvious. And it made me think of you because you brought that into my world.
it's just such a good joke. It's a
It is.
classic, and you can use it so often. It applies to everybody. It's the joke that doesn't discriminate.
That's true. So, like, what have you been up to? Have you been able to work on anything? Like, obviously, like your college experience ended sooner than it
Hmm.
typically would have, and you were put out into a pandemic world. So I imagine it's not quite as easy to go about finding new work. But have you done anything on your own, or just like what have you been up to, man? Like, what's good?
It's been hard finding work in the entertainment industry during the pandemic. So to make money, I actually recently became a drug mule.
Ooh,
Hmm. I applied to the job on Indeed, heard back pretty fast. But my last one specifically didn't go so well.
okay.
So the way it goes is that they give me all the money in advance and they put it way in the back, if you know what I mean. And then they layer in the drugs on top to make sure I get all the work done, and then I get my payout.
Like the back of your car?
No, my anus.
Oh, anus. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
drug
Yeah,
mule.
thank you. Thank you. Right, right, right.
So this particular job was paying like $2,000. It's a lot of money for
Mhm.
like one job. It's like a day. Um, but something about this particular deal felt off from the moment they loaded me up. I started feeling kind of sick,
Mhm.
and I was worried that like one of the bags tore or something. But it was a job, and I had to keep moving because I had deadlines.
Well, of course.
And so after my flight, I went to the different buyers and offloaded the product. But to this point, I was feeling so sick, like it's puking and everything. So first, I visited Stinky Samuel. He wanted 1 pound of fresh yayo, and I got the bag out. No ripping that one.
That's good.
And then I went to Deeb Cleveson, uh, and he had a purchase of a little bit of Thunder Skunk. No ripping that bag either.
That's good.
And then I went to the University of Georgia with a bunch of contraband fruity jewel pods. No
Sure.
rip in that bag. But at this point, I feel like awful.
Yeah, and being sick in this climate, that's risky.
Hmm. Um, and so all that's left in me is the $2,000 that they've given me. But unfortunately for me, I couldn't get it to pass, so I had to go to the doctor's office. And so after some formalities with the doctor, I was like, I need a prostate exam, which took a lot of convincing because I'm young. They don't usually give them to me this young, but
Uh-huh.
finally, he gives me this prostate exam, and the doctor says to me right after the exam, he says, "You're not going to believe this, but I found $1,999 in your anus. $1,999. It's a lot of money."
But
And I,
there's a dollar missing, right?
yeah, and I said, "I guess that's why I haven't been feeling too grand."
Oh, that should go in your advent calendar. I mean, it's more of a one. That can be like the final day.
No, but in reality, the job market here is really bad. It's tough.
Yeah.
No. Um, I had a PA job this upcoming week, but it got canceled because the director got COVID. But aside from that, I'm doing a ton of informational interviews. And for all the people who work on Not Too Late, tell them that you didn't get paid, and they will be amazed. They were like, "Did you get credit?" And I was like, "No." They're like, "Did you get paid?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, What did you get for it?" And I was like, "The satisfaction." And they were like, "Oh, okay." And then when I told this last person that, they just offered me a job right out the bat. So tell them that. But yeah, no, pretty
Interesting.
much it's been pretty dry. Production is finally starting back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some stuff.
That's good. Are you still able to write like on your own? Like have you cuz like I definitely the past few months like just for like my personal stuff have faced massive writer's block. Um so I just
Yeah, I I've faced writer's block with comedy. I've been working on a lot of non-comedy stuff lately.
mhm.
Writing a psychological horror thriller right now, I guess, and it just doesn't feel right to be writing it. But like the joke that I just told you was the first joke that I have written in probably like 2 3 months. Uh, and I spent. When did you tell me about this interview?
I don't know, a few days ago I think.
I've been thinking about it since then and working on it since then, and that was the result. Is I haven't been feeling too grand, which I thought it was funny,
No, I think it's
but
good, yeah.
maybe the setup was a little long. I feel like they would ask me to cut that down, but it's hard. I think it's really hard to work on comedy in a pandemic, but I think it's even more important now that we are in a pandemic because people need to laugh. And of the places that they do have to laugh, I don't think a lot of them are putting out the right stuff. I'd hate to call out shows like Saturday Night Live, but the political sketches aren't funny anymore.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
completely agree. This has been the first season. I know like a lot of people have been saying it for a while, but this has been the first season with SNL that I have thought wasn't good.
See, it's really hard for me because that's like my dream job. Is
Yeah, the
week
same.
Yeah, weekend update host is what I want to do. Uh, I want to be the white guy that gets called racist by my co-host, like Colin Jost.
Yeah.
Um, but like this season, just like I feel like I'm watching. What's the show? You remember Sunny with the Chance on Disney Channel?
Sunny with the yeah.
And oh yeah, what's the show that they made as like an offset of that? It was the show that they worked on, the sketch comedy show.
I do not remember.
Basically, it feels like Disney is writing SNL, and
Yeah.
it's not good like that. Like everything is so blown out of proportion that there's no subtlety in the humor anymore, and it's just sad to see. And so like that's why I think it's more important for people to write. Like the closest thing I do to writing jokes now is I tweet,
Mhm.
and a lot of it is just about how I want a pet monkey. Because whenever I feel sad, I just think, man, if I had a pet monkey, he'd sign to me and be like, "You okay?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I am okay. Thank you, monkey friend." But the
Yeah.
reality is, they're not cheap, and I don't have room in my apartment.
Yeah. Even with like the John Mulaney episode. And I love John Mulaney, like he's a
Hmm.
great comedian, but like even that episode I was just kind of like it was fine,
Yeah,
but
they, it's it's just tough.
yeah. Well, you know, this interview is almost 6 times longer than some of our other interviews, 2.5 times longer than our longest interview. So I think we're gonna bring it to a wrap. I'm probably gonna say that in our actual episode, we've probably edited down the interview quite a bit.
Are you gonna cut my joke?
I don't. Well, so here's the thing. I'm gonna try to get our editor to edit it down, and then try to see if we can post the full interview as well in a separate video if anyone wants to watch it. So, this has been all of our time with Tucker. If you want to watch the full interview, check that out also on the IUS TV channel. Um, Tucker, man, thanks for zooming in. Obviously, it's easier than you traveling all the way back to Bloomington from Atlanta.
I also didn't
Um,
get an invite back to Bloomington, but
you also didn't get an invite back to Bloomington, mainly because of COVID.
hmm.
Um, thanks for creating the show.
Hey man,
It's
I think I gotta say thank you for having me, but I also gotta say thank you to you because I'll be honest. One of my worries leaving was, is it going to keep going?
mm,
And you very obviously have what's something the helm, manned the helm. That's the phrase. You've manned the helm very well. You've kept it going. You've brought in a lot of new blood who hopefully will stick with it through all 4 years. And it's very cool to see something that I helped create keep
yeah,
going, even though I'm, as some of your writers I think may assume, dead. I'm a ghost.
you're a ghost. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very appreciative to see it keep going, and I'm very proud of the work you guys are doing, and I'm nothing but excited to see what you guys do with it next season.
Well, thank you. If anyone wants to hear about Tucker's dreams of having a pet monkey, you can follow him on Twitter. I imagine it's just Tucker Scanlon. T
No,
Scanlon.
that's taken. Tuck Scan,
Your Tuck
Tuck
Scan. All right.
Scan.
Cool. You can also, if you look really hard, you can find him in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a bit of a Where's Waldo, just a lot harder. So, to our audience at home, have a happy holidays. Please stay safe. Don't visit family. I know it's tough, but it's just a bad idea right now, guys. And I'm going to leave you with this. Goodbye.